Hello everyone, it is Finn here and welcome back to my channel where today I will be discussing and predicting every single game for the Premier League Match Week 11. And if it is not welcome back to you, if you are brand new to my channel, please do consider subscribing as I do regular football content and FIFA content. So if that sounds very good to you, I am trying to reach 900 subscribers before the end of the year, so I would really appreciate the support. But as I said in today's video, we will be talking about Premier League Match Week 11 and there are some exciting games coming up. We've got West Ham versus Manchester United, we've got Leeds versus Chelsea, Liverpool versus Wolves, and of course the big one, Arsenal versus Tottenham Hotspurs. So once again, exciting match week coming up, and if you do enjoy, once again, consider subscribing. But first game of this Premier League match week will be between Burnley and Everton. Now I could pretend like I don't know what's going to happen and I could ooh and ah, but at the end of the day, I can only see Everton winning this one. Because yes, even though Everton have had some funny results this season and lost points where they shouldn't have, at least they've looked good at points. I mean, they've spent time at the top of the Premier League table, where if you look at Burnley, they've only had one win this season and it was against the Crystal Palace team without Wilfried Zaha. And in the previous game, they lost 5-0 to Manchester City. I don't know, I just can't see Burnley winning this one. At the moment, they are playing like a championship team. They've got no attacking ability, they've got good defenders, but in terms of their midfield, they've got no defensive ability. And versus Everton, that will be costly. So I can only see Everton winning this one. And in terms of a player to watch, once again, it is going to be Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's looked very good as of late and is the top scorer in the Premier League. Now, second game of this Premier League match week. Once again, I'm not going to ooh and ah and pretend like it's not one-sided. It is Manchester City versus Fulham. And Manchester City, one thing I've said throughout the season is that they do have another level they could achieve in terms of their attack. And in their previous game versus Burnley, a 5-0 win, they definitely showed me that they still have that attacking ability. And I can only see Manchester City winning this one. I mean, they are one of the best teams in the world, let's be honest. And looking at the likes of Fulham, unfortunately I can't see them winning, but they have had some good team performances as of late. I do think Lookman has looked good, but Mitrovic really needs to step up in the striker position. Saying that, I'm not totally knocking Fulham out of this. They haven't looked bad as of late. They almost got a result versus Everton and they got a win versus Leicester City, but unfortunately versus Manchester City, I can only see it go one way. And in terms of a player to watch, I could go for Kevin De Bruyne, Sterling, Mahrez, but I will go for the likes of Phil Foden because he has looked very good so far this season. He's really stepped up his game, and versus a team like Fulham, I know he's going to get game time. So I do think he will be my player to watch. Now, third game of this Premier League match week, unlike the other ones, this one will be a close one as it is West Ham United versus Manchester United. And guys, this really could go either way. Only 1 point separates these two teams, and looking at the last 10 games between these two teams, there have been 3 West Ham wins, there have been 3 Manchester United wins and 4 draws. Anything can happen. And in terms of West Ham United, they've gained points versus some big teams this season and they really have looked good, and I think that is down to how well they have performed as a team. But once again, my only concern is the amount of chances they concede at the back. They really do concede way too many chances, but Fabianski has looked good. So if they do well defensively, I do back the likes of Fabianski. But in terms of Manchester United, I do think they'll get the win. No, that's not just because I'm a Manchester United fan, but over the last month or two, Manchester United has looked very good and has gained points versus some top teams. The only reason they lost 3-1 versus PSG, in my opinion, is the fact that Fred really put the whole team at risk and really put an imbalance in the team. He got the early foul, the rest of the game Manchester United had to be cautious, and once he got that red card, there was a total imbalance in that Manchester United team. But other than that, United has looked very good as of late. Harry Maguire has really stepped up in defense, David De Gea has looked very good, and attacking wise and midfield wise, chances are being created. So that is why I think Manchester United will win this one. And in terms of a player to watch, I think it will be Bruno Fernandes. Yes, Cavani and Rashford have looked very good as of late, but Bruno Fernandes is really just hitting a hot purple patch off form. Which, by the way, guys, I know I just said West Ham United might lose this one, but if you are interested, I currently have a West Ham United FIFA 21 Career Mode series on this YouTube channel. You can click on the eye thingy up above. I don't know which side it will be on. I've done YouTube for 2 years and I still don't know, so please check that out if you are interested. The next game this Premier League match week is another game that has a lot of potential to be really close and definitely has potential to be an exciting game. It is Chelsea versus Leeds United, and both teams have looked very good at certain points this season. But at the end of the day, I just have to go for Chelsea. I mean, they've only gotten one loss this Premier League season, and attacking wise, they've been one of the best in the Premier League. Defensively, they've pulled up their socks and they've got so much squad depth. I mean, their third choice striker just scored 4 goals in one Champions League game. It is insane. So I just have to give Chelsea the win because of that. But looking at Leeds United, anything could happen. I mean, they just beat Everton 1-0. But saying that, a few weeks ago, they lost to Crystal Palace 4-1. So Leeds United are very unpredictable, but I definitely do think they'll score in this fixture, just because they've created so many chances as of late. I think Bamford looks like a very good striker. He just needs to convert more of his chances into goals, and then Leeds United could get 1 or 2 more wins this Premier League season. But despite Leeds United's attack, defensively, that is where the problem is at. They concede way too many chances. I think Meslier is a really good goalkeeper and he saved Leeds United on multiple occasions, but defensively concede way too many chances, and versus the top scoring team in the Premier League, I can only see one outcome. And in terms of a player to watch, Chilwell has been in really good form. Mount has been in really good form. But I do think once again it will be Ziyech. Since he's moved to Chelsea, he's been the most in-form, most influential player in that Chelsea team. And he's really revolutionized that Chelsea's attack. And I think he'll do it again in this game. Now moving on to the next game, it will be West Brom versus Crystal Palace. Now this is one that it's very odd for me to predict, because looking at West Brom, you never know what's going to happen, because attacking wise, they do look good at times. John Stone looks like a really good goalkeeper. Defensively, they do need to sort out 1 or 2 more things. But as I said, West Brom, hard to predict, but they have only gotten 1 win this Premier League season, and it has been against one of the worst teams in the Premier League, being Sheffield United. So whether I see them picking up their second win of the season versus Crystal Palace, I don't quite think so. I just think there's a lot more quality in this Crystal Palace team. That's why I think Palace will get the win. They've got some great playmakers in the midfield. Attacking wise, they look good, and the likes of Wilfried Zaha is back, and I think they'll be crucial for the likes of Crystal Palace, and because of that, I will make him my player to watch in this fixture, just because in the last 2 or 3 games he has been missing in action. So just because he is such a difference maker, I will put him as my player to watch. My only problem with Palace is the fact that they can make few too many defensive mistakes from time to time. But looking at the next game, Sheffield United versus Leicester City, obviously not going to talk about it too much. I've just spoken about Sheffield United being one of the worst teams in the Premier League. I don't need to name all their statistics. They've only gotten 1 point so far this Premier League season. That is horrific. They've lost every single game except for 1 that they have drawn, and that is why I will give a win to Leicester City in this one. Leicester City can look odd at times this season, but point-wise, this is one of Leicester City's best seasons they have ever had in the Premier League. They do just need to pick up their socks after their previous Fulham game. But once again, there's just more quality in this Leicester City team. I think Fofana has looked really good defensively. Midfield-wise, some great players. And attacking-wise, yes, Jamie Vardy is in the squad, but I'm actually going to make my player to watch the likes of Harvey Barnes. Because yes, he doesn't have the numbers that Jamie Vardy does, but one thing I've realized about Barnes is he is so consistent, because he has at least 1 moment of magic per game, and I think he'll do the exact same versus Sheffield United, and I think he'll actually score versus Sheffield United. The next game is going to be the biggest of this Premier League match week, the North London derby between Tottenham Hotspurs and Arsenal. Now, this is always such an exciting game to watch, but as you guys can see, I think Tottenham Hotspurs are going to get a comfortable 3-1 win in this game. I'm saying that because Spurs have looked so good this season. Yes, they just got a 0-0 draw versus the likes of Chelsea, but they didn't have anything near their strongest defense. Yes, they could have looked stronger in terms of their attack, But at the end of the day, they played defensively and they got a point because of that. But even without that, throughout the season, Spurs have looked so good and they've only gotten one loss. Where if you look at the likes of Arsenal, I just can't give them the win in this. They have just lost 2-1 to a Wolves team without Jimenez. Attacking wise, they have been horrible. Their strikers have not scored in hours of game time. I would put Tierney or Gabriel in the striker position before I put Aubameyang and Lacazette. I mean, maybe Arteta should tell the strikers that they have to score a goal before they can get their next haircut. Maybe that will motivate them. But honestly, Arsenal, they just have not looked good enough. Their only win against a top team this Premier League season was against Manchester United, and that was because of a penalty. Arsenal, you really just have to step it up. Otherwise, I can only see Spurs winning this game. And in terms of a player to watch, of course, I could go for Heung-min Son, but I will go for Harry Kane. Because of how good Arsenal's fullbacks are, I do think there will be a lot of crosses into the box. And because of that, I do think Harry Kane will be an aerial threat. And that is why Harry Kane will be my player to watch. Now looking at the second last game of this Premier League match week, which once again, guys, if you have enjoyed up until this point and you want to see more of my content in the future, please do hit that subscribe button and bell notification button to be notified as soon as a new video does come up. But second last game, it is another big one. Liverpool versus Wolves, and as you can see, I do think Liverpool will win this one. Yes, Liverpool have a lot of injuries in their team, but even with all their injuries, they still look fairly good. Defensively, they don't look bad. James Milner showed that he really looks good in a fullback position. Midfield-wise, they still have a lot of really good midfield players. And at the end of the day, without Raul Jimenez at Wolves, I don't see them getting a win versus Liverpool. So looking at Liverpool, obviously quality overall, I think they'll get a win. And I do think Wolves will once again have problems in terms of their attack. They don't look bad attacking wise. They've obviously got Podence, they've got Adama Traore, a lot of really good players like Neto. But without the likes of Jimenez, they will struggle, unfortunately. And in terms of a player to watch, I am going to go for the likes of Jota. Because Jota, look, I could go for Salah, I could go for Mane, but Jota has been the most informed Liverpool player so far this season. Among other things, he is a previous Wolves player. So it is going to be interesting to see Jota play versus his old team. Now, final game of this Premier League match week will be between Brighton and Southampton. Now, looking at the likes of Brighton, I don't know, they just haven't looked good this Premier League season. But saying that, they got a win versus Aston Villa and a draw versus Liverpool. But although they did get a draw versus Liverpool, I do think Liverpool was kind of unlucky not to get a win. Obviously, they had multiple goals disallowed. Whether they should or shouldn't have been, it was very close that Brighton almost lost, and they just got a penalty at the end of the game. But at the end of the day, that is points for Brighton, and really points that Brighton will take any point of the season. But I don't think Brighton will get a win versus the likes of Southampton, because looking at Southampton, they've been one of the best teams this Premier League season. They didn't look that good versus Manchester United, but set piece wise, that kept them in the game. They don't have Danny Ings for this coming fixture, but I think they'll be okay because Shea Adams has been in great form. I think the total team play from Southampton is what will carry them through versus Brighton. I mean, McCarthy has been a brilliant goalkeeper this season. Midfield-wise, chances are being created. Romeo has looked defensively strong in the midfield. Attacking-wise, chances are being created. As I said, Southampton overall just is the better team, in my opinion. And in terms of a player to watch, I could really go for Shea Adams or Ward-Prowse, but I'm actually going to go for the likes of Djenepo. I am saying that because in that game versus Manchester United, I saw something special in him. He created so many beautiful chances. He looked very skillful on the ball and he looked confident. And I think he could do something dangerous versus Brighton. Yes, his numbers aren't great. I'm not saying he'll score or get an assist, but I do think he can make a difference. So guys, that is it for my Premier League predictions this week. I know there is obviously that one more game between Aston Villa and Newcastle United, but that has been postponed until a later stage. So until I know when that is, I won't be predicting it. But guys, once again, if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button down below, as it helps my channel out hugely, and do subscribe if you are not subscribed. More content coming your way soon, including reaction videos, FIFA videos, all of that stuff. But guys, I hope you enjoy your Premier League Match Week 11. I do love and appreciate every single one of you. Finn, FYNN, have a good one. Bye.
And all the times you cried saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just